Hello, Deep Mindfulness Collective. This right here, right now, is the joy of being a live stream coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. And guess what? Our audio finally works. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us. Lovely to have you here, as always. Very excited for today. Thank you so much for joining us and being here for happy fun times. Folks, it's Friday. Technically, by all means necessary, we've gotten here. I don't know how. I don't know where. And that's the big question that I have. Where? Where the hell? Where are you? Where have you been? Where have you been is less important. Where are you? Where are folks coming from? I need to... All right. That's what Brooklyn looks like if you don't look at the keyboard. Lovely, folks. Here from Brooklyn. Just in Friday vibes from Karlstad, Sweden. Lovely. Good to have you all the way in Sweden. You know, Nick is a long-time steady rocker here on the stream, so much appreciated. Nick is a real steady streamer here. Gene coming in from Brooklyn. Great to see you. Glad you're here. You're just a stone's throw away. Technically, we're in the exact same place right now, so that's weird. Since I can't see you, it's strange to be in the exact same place that you are. Okay, 613 Style, welcome. Nice to see you. This is actually maybe your first time here on the stream. Great to have you. NorCal, David from Saturday class. Oh, lovely. Nice to have you here, David. So Northern California, just want to check in. I think you're out of the sort of range of all the fires, but just want to check in, see how you're doing. Hopefully you're doing well. Let's see here. Brooklyn is a small city in Sweden. Exactly. That is exactly right. It's funny. I actually wonder, is that exactly right? So this is Dune. Tell me how to pronounce that. That is this might be your first time on the stream as well. Oh, Rory from Kingston, Ontario. Lovely, lovely, beautiful Kingston. You got to send some pictures. Got to put some pictures in the chat so we can take a look. Tomlin here from Tamil Nadu, India, hence the name. Smoky but safe. I'm glad you guys are safe up there. 613. Enda JC. It's Enda. Nice. It's Enda from Williamsburg. Nice to see you here. 2020 CL. Hello from London. It's Clive from London. Clive in New York. Okay, let's see. And we have Nick here. Brooklyn. So as people are letting us know where they're coming from, which is always lovely, keep it flowing. If anyone has not let us where you're going, think about what you want to meditate around, because it's Freestyle Friday, sometimes known as Freaky Friday, and we are going to be doing meditation based on your requests. What's going on with you? What is going on with you? I heard some stuff. I want to know, what's going on with you? So what is up? Folks, I'm excited to be here. It's a lovely day. I'm happy that we got to slide through the old week-a-rooney. I don't have a life where I'm like, oh, I got to get through the week, because then I have some time off because I do what I want. I do what I really like to do. Can you put pictures in the chat? I don't think you can, actually. I think you can put links in the chat. Links in the chat. Links in the chat. One thing somebody told me about, which I actually want to do, it's a different stream that I like, that I enjoy, like a sound bath stream. They did, what did they do? Oh, they have this thing where if you, for people who are like members, you can put emojis that appear on the screen and they sort of float away. You can have your own custom little things, not just like those boring ass regular ones. So that's sort of close. Maybe we can have some pictures of Ontario appearing on the screen. Maybe that would be a thing that would be fun, is people could post a picture. We'd have to make sure there were not explicit pictures, but I guess if someone's willing to subscribe, then they're probably not going to pay money then to be like, hey, look, a picture of pornography. But that'd be nice. You could put little pictures up in the corner. That's a good idea, Rory. We're going to look at that. Tomalin, if you're listening to me, let's see how we can do that. If people are subscribed, they can put up little pictures, little postcards that appear in the image here when they want. Okay, beep, pop, pop, beep, pop, pop. So far, we've had 0 requests. So folks, what is up with your meditation? What is up with that? Why is it so, so weird? We did this thing last night, and I was playing like a girl in a 80s mall who was like too cool for school and like didn't like everyone, and like that was her like means to power. Was just like, actually, like I don't really like you, and like she just became more and more popular because of this. Okay, guess the letter O is okay. This is about the spelling of Brooklyn. The letter O is concept without any experience to sorry, why am I reading so funny? Without an experience to connect it with most of you. Keep thinking the concepts are actually the real experience. Exactly. Concepts as real experience. For the next few days, I'm going to be very busy. Sorry. 613 says, I've been really enjoying metta lately. Excellent. Okay, good note. Good to know. For the next few days, I'm going to be very busy. I thought about skipping today, but feel like if I sit, I will actually be more productive. Well, listen, that's the pro tip. That's the code. Not only just productive, but it's like I often look in and say, why do I want to be productive? Like, what's the point of this? And often the point is to have a rich and fulfilling life. So if we don't practice fulfillment skills, we don't practice how to have a rich and fulfilling life, it doesn't matter if we achieve X, Y, and Z. We're just going to achieve X, Y, and Z, and we won't know how to be fulfilled. So, and that's actually, if I think about like, we're on a gaming platform, so if I beat this game, I'll finally feel like satisfied, and there'll probably be some sense of satisfaction, but if we don't train ourselves to feel satisfied when we achieve something, which can be the case, people can just feel like, okay, I did it, I'm done. Then we can feel very unsatisfied. And I know that Tomlin had asked a question, messaged me about a question, so maybe if you want to ask that question, you were asking a question, we're going to talk about it. If you want to ask that question after the meditation, you can feel free, and that'll give us a little bit of time to chat about that if that sounds of interest. Okay, so far, metta is the only, loving kindness practice is the only request that's been made. So if you don't want that, you better start popping requests in the chat right now. Typically, when people hear metta, if they don't, especially if they don't know me, a lot of people are like, not so much, don't want to do that. But I do it in a pretty particular way, so it's not so draggy necessarily. I often find straight metta where just like feel good feelings and repeat a nice phrase is a little draggy. I like it to feel like an insight practice too. Okay, so it sounds like the votes. Okay, we have alternative to focusing meditation that doesn't focus on breath. Well, so Gabriel, just so you know, our entire shtick here, I barely refer to not barely, I will refer to the breath, but I always feel like I'm like, it's almost subversive when I do it because I'm just like so not into the breath. I use all of the sense gates, which I find much more fascinating and interesting to be really tied into the sort of structural makeup of our sense experience. Do it very directly rather than doing it sort of indirectly. Never tried metta, don't know what that is, that Dune says. So metta is a kind of practice. I'll go zoom out more broadly. We could talk about loving kindness practice or any nurture positive practice. So if we look at the path, we can kind of consider it in these two big directions. One half is the path of doing, and one other path is the path of non-doing. On the doing side, we have everything from helping somebody up the stairs with a baby carriage, or like getting in shape, or anything, making sure the dishes are clean, like anything that could improve ourselves for the world. This is basically the realm of morality. Anything that we can volitionally have an effect on, we'll call that the doing side. This is nurture positive. On the other side is the non-doing. This is the observing, the sense experiences. This is analyzing and detecting and sort of deconstructing our sense experiences. Someone else mentioned this. Often people will start with the breath because it's relatively easy, often very calming, especially if people have kind of trauma or whatever. It can often calm the system down to some degree. And so let's see. So metta is one kind of nurture positive practice. Now the thing that I like to do, a common metta practice, is where you think of someone who you could send loving kindness to, and you imagine them and you sort of beam loving kindness to them, and maybe you beam it to yourself, and you look for the pleasant feelings in the body, and that can create a feedback loop that can be quite pleasant. I do it a little bit differently because I like it to be an insight practice where we're also observing the nature of our own experience in real time, sort of constructing and deconstructing reality. That's my jam. So we're probably going to do it in that direction. So for you, Dwayne, maybe it's just Dwayne. That would be a very American version of that, but we'll see. Do on. Nama Rupa. Okay, we have 2 votes now for Nama Rupa. Okay, so what we're going to do then, this is good. I like you guys fighting it out in the chat. I like the little like the sibling rivalry where you're like, no, I want to do this practice. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a relationship here between Nama Rupa and the and a heart practice and a sort of loving kindness practice. We're not going to need to. This is for anyone joining us who's here for the first time. There's a few people, of course, follow. That's always lovely, but we don't need to exit the realm of reason. This is not a place where we, go into like mystical stuff, which is cool. If that's your thing, that's cool. We get to stay in the ordinary world, but we actually get to explore that the ordinary world is very, very, very weird if we actually get into it. So it's good to know that some people are relatively new, because I can forget that. Okay, so folks, I'm going to give you a piece of information that is probably going to freak you out. But what I'm going to suggest is that for the duration of the practice, you remain in stillness. The reason we do this is because if we can train stillness of the body, it creates a kind of blank palette for the mind to explore, versus each time we move, it sort of resets the whole thing, and the body sort of resets. But if we can get through that little bit of time when the body's trying to get itself to move, the system can actually burn through a lot of material that we can discover a lot of cool stuff. So how do we sit still? My suggestion is that if you're sitting, you sit at the edge of your whatever you're sitting on. This is this thing you're sitting on, and so that your knees are lower than your hips. So you're just sitting right at the edge, and just let the hips rock down just slightly. This allows the lower back to curve and balance on that, which allows the upper back to balance and curve on that. And you have a nice straight back without having to stretch and strain upwards in this way. And if you want to lay down, you can, as long as you're not super sleepy. That's totally fine. If you do a lying down position, if you're not tired, you can relax physically more, which is lovely, because then that can help drive the practice. Okay, so we're also going to practice for, wait for it, the terrifying news, 25 minutes. I know. You think it's impossible, but trust me, it's actually pretty quick. You'll be very surprised. Thank you so much for subscribing here, 613 Style. That's so kind of you. Love that and appreciate it. And we're thinking now people can put up postcards of images of things they want on the screen while we're streaming, if they'd like, if that sounds like a fun time. Beep up is okay, folks. So we are going to find a nice comfortable position that we can maintain. Give the body a little bit of a stretch. Get out any, energy or vibes here in your body if you want. Shake it out as you will. And we'll begin in just a moment. Okay, let's begin. Beginning by taking a few comfortable deep breaths and feeling the body rise and fall. If we'd like to practice with the eyes open, we can simply rest them on a single point. And generally, though, I'm going to recommend and encourage folks to practice with the eyes closed. And at the beginning of any practice, we want to relax the body. So go ahead and make any physical adjustments you need to in the body to feel more relaxed. And just for fun, we'll sweep through the body to be sure we're not holding any undue tension. So starting at the top of the head, relax the brow. Relax the muscles behind the eyes, letting the eyes drop back just a tiny bit. Relax the face. Relaxing the back of the tongue and letting the jaw go slack. No need to hold it closed. Relaxing the neck and the shoulders. The upper arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, and relaxing the hands, tuning into the subtle sensations in the palms of the hands and tips of the fingers. There are collectively more nerve endings in the palms of the hands and tips of the fingers than most other places in the body. So feeling the richness of the sensations of the hands. Without making any attempt to control the breath, just letting the body breathe as it will. Noticing the natural tightening and relaxing of the upper chest and upper back as the breath comes and goes. Relaxing the belly and the lower back. Relaxing the hips and the upper legs. The knees and calves. The ankles, and relaxing the feet. And although this might sound strange, even though the body is already relaxed, I'd like you to see if you could relax even further. There are often thousands of little micro-tensions in the body. So subtle we might not even be able to feel them. So just use your intuition to see if you can let go all over the body. And see if we can get an overall sense of the body. Not any particular sensation, but all of the sensations together. This is not the mental image of the body. The mental image of the body is centered around the head, as though we were looking down, as though there were a body below us. This is a little different. letting the body itself feel all of the sensations in one large category. Not worrying about the mental image, it might arise or not, it's not a big deal. Simply getting a kind of snapshot of all of the body sensations. Not worrying about capturing any particular detail, just an overall sense. Some of the body might feel unpleasant at this moment. You might feel like it's in pain or discomfort. But typically, most of our body is going to feel neutral and pleasant. And tuning into the neutral and pleasant qualities can feel peaceful and enjoyable. One of the aspects of visiting nature that can be pleasant is the spaciousness, the quietness, the brightness of the light. And so allowing ourselves to experience the body in this way. Recognizing that it too is simply a piece of nature. And of course, distractions arise. These are not a problem. This is just another facet of nature. It's the nature of the mind to be distracted at times, to think of things, to explore. It's not a problem. Just like in nature, we're simply creating a kind of gravity, in this case around the body, that our attention drifts, and it simply gets pulled back naturally. At times, the mind might zoom into certain body sensations. This is also natural. But today our task is simply to introduce those localized sensations to the overall body experience. This overall experience is brought to us by what we'll call awareness. Awareness is this large and spacious sense rather than the zoomed in one. Noticing how soft awareness can feel. How much awareness doesn't need things to be different. And this is the simple knowing nature of the mind. It's like a kind of sunlight. It doesn't judge what it comes in contact with. It simply brightens it and brings it into view. And people often can experience this awareness as very quiet, gentle. It's like a simple presence. But we're going to allow this awareness to be welcoming. This doesn't mean we have to add a lot of doing. In fact, the less doing, the better. We're simply tuning into the kind, welcoming, open side of awareness. And so no matter what arises in the body, even if it's unpleasant emotion or difficult sensations, this welcoming awareness simply allows it to enter in. Not a problem. What tends to happen if we have something we experience as unpleasant is the mind focuses on it, tightens around it, shrinks the world to the unpleasantness, which is, not surprisingly, extremely unpleasant. So if any sensation arises that's particular, that's zoomed in, or one set of sensations, we simply introduce those sensations to all of the body sensations. And we're going to give this kind awareness a voice. Give it a phrase, but we don't need to add a lot of doing. We're just going to let it begin to whisper this phrase over and over, not changing the task, just using this as a kind of medium to smooth the relationship. And the phrase is simply, "May you be peaceful. May you be peaceful. May you be peaceful." And the phrase isn't coming from what we call me, I, self. Let it come from the kind awareness. As though it were our entire periphery, this large space around us that we're saying the phrase. As though we were simply hearing it softly all around us. Here we are within nature, listening to this kind wish coming from more nature, this kind awareness. And some part of us can hear this and accept it, and other parts cannot. This is also nature. There are parts of us that fight, that judge or evaluate, parts of us that defend. And simply introducing these parts to this overall experience. And of course, if other sensations bleed in, if sounds, our sense of space, if all of this begins to become one large collection of sense data, that's fine. May you be peaceful. May you be peaceful. So no matter what's arising in this moment, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, things that feel like they're supposed to be here as part of a meditation, or things that don't. Just letting them participate in this larger sphere, this kind awareness all around us, wishing peace. Wishing peace in every direction, towards us, through us, around us. It's indiscriminate. Anytime we find anything particular, the mind zooms into one sensation, one annoyance, one judgment or thought or plan. It's not a problem. Simply introducing that singular experience to the overall. Introducing it to the spacious openness of nature. If there's any sense of a self, any sense of an observer, that all of this is happening to. It's not a problem. It's just another particle. Simply introducing that to the overall whole. May you be peaceful. Various impulses arise. The impulse to move the body. The impulse to move forward in time. The mind craving for the next moment. The impulse to do it right. The impulse to get something from the meditation. We don't need to get. Nature is simply giving. The sense that we are receiving this peace, the sense that we are transmitting this peace, these are all simple edges. And simply introducing them to the overall. Staying in practice, staying in stillness. We're going to introduce a slight change, but continuing what we've been cultivating. This is the most important moment of the practice so far. Wishing the same peace, including a little bit of light as the eyes slowly begin to open. Again, we're staying with practice, staying in stillness. Eventually allowing the eyes to rest on a single point that's not a screen and not text. Letting the spaciousness of the overall seeing experience open and expand the spaciousness that we've been cultivating. Letting this expanse of nature expand the process, letting it say to us, may you be peaceful. Our entire environment, in every direction, wishing us peace. And letting this particular moment be the great teacher that shows us how we might bring this practice into every aspect of our life. Okay. So now's the fun part. So go ahead and make any adjustments you need to allow the body to be comfortable. And this is my favorite part. This is where we get to share with each other. This is the coolest part because I have no idea what happened for you, and the other people here on the stream have no idea what happened for you. So we get to share these various experiences. Now the thing is that the experiences we share don't have to be super groovy. They can. They don't have to be. They don't have to imply that the meditation went wonderfully. Whatever came up, whatever happened is what happened. Thoughts likely arose. Distraction likely arose. Oh my goodness, a follower here, Jess BKK. Thank you so much for following. As if anyone else, if you're here and you'd like to follow, we always love that. Lots of fun. Beep up, beep up, up is so yeah, what was the experience like? One of the central ways to develop a practice, basically, if you put this much effort into your meditation today, if you want to get, you're going to get this much benefit. And if you report what you just did, you're going to likely increase that benefit substantially. So let me know what that experience was like. And if you'd like to, if you want to chat about it, or if you have questions, we have our Zoom. This is a great way to get a little detailed instruction, detailed help on what's happening for you, or just any feedback, or if you just want to say what happened and have folks listen along. If you want to get on the Zoom, let me know though, because we don't actually open the room until people say they want to get on, because it can fuck with the cameras. Excuse my language. Also, P.S. Since I'm in the apology mode, I apologize. I hit the bell, and it's so subtle. It's like it's a movement of like from here to here, and if you do it just wrong, it's too damn loud. So I think I hit it in just the wrong way. It is a little loud. Okay. Rory says, I felt like you incorporated Nama Rupa without actually using those labels. That's exactly right. And that's actually, that's generally, if people pay attention, that's a lot of what I'm doing is incorporating a lot of Nama Rupa in everything I do. I feel like it's such a central sort of practice that is the case. If anyone's wondering, Nama Rupa is an ancient term, and it refers to the mind's tendency to organize information. And it's constantly happening. It's any sense of a solid world that you have, or a sense of your place in time, like there's a past and future. All of those things are the mind organizing raw sense data. And you can, over time, break the sort of, I don't want to say prison, but like the sort of hold of those experiences so they're not so constant if you want to. You don't have to, but you can step out of them, which is lovely. Nick says, long time since we've done starting with a body scan. Almost forgot you used to do that. I used to do that almost every time. Also, almost got and now we're making a slight shift at the end as well. Yeah, that's usually what I do right in the middle. As usual, can't remember much of it, much if I'm really focused. And it is, over time, you can get used to it, even if you are really focused and you're really into the meditation. The system can remember. And actually, if you start describing some details, often the system will just cascade. Well, yeah, of course I remember that thing. And then once you start getting in there, it'll start sort of cascading in that way. Which I was, but the chronic sharp neuropathic pain in my foot softened a bit when it became part of the entire field of the body sensation. That is absolutely true. The mind can actually absolutely transform pain, difficulty, emotional overwhelm, etc. This right now is my current number one tip for folks who are experiencing overwhelm or anything that is difficult, etc., is to introduce it to more real estate. Raquel and I are writing this whole thing right now about how the problem, what we're writing it about what overwhelm is, and the general premise is that overwhelm is two things happening at once. The difficulty getting bigger, but then the mind getting smaller. So it seems like the difficulty's expanding exponentially. And then when the mind gets really stuck there, it looks around and it's like, there's nothing but this, difficulty. So our whole thing is to over and over and over and over again introduce it to more materials, experientially, and that can tend to break down overwhelm. Pro tip, that's not just meditation. Talking to someone else about our experience, that introduces more real estate, right? It's called mentalizing in psychology. It's actually, to be able to see something from someone else's point of view is actually a way of gaining more perspective. So, and that's why I talk about it, more perspective, not just a larger awareness. So helping somebody else, getting into somebody else's challenges is a powerful way to actually get more perspective on our own experience. Helping other people is actually probably one of the number one things that I do in my life in order to, work with any difficulties, is like help somebody else. So that's just my personal top tip. Doing some fitness, going outside, looking around, all of these things seem very minor, but they open the perspective. And so the shrunk down experience of overwhelm, gets reduced because we introduce it to more material in that way. Let's see here. Beep, up, up, up. Nick is still... I'm still on Nick's thing. The experience of the foot, the pain went down, which is exactly it. To reduce pain, add more, expand the experience. Enjoyed that, and the rest of the meditation too. Subtle Nama Rupa. Yeah, really what we're doing is using the kind phrase. Really, if we introduce particles and parts of our experience, any part to the whole, its partness breaks down. That's exactly what a sort of Nama Rupa experience is to notice that things will break down as we introduce them to the whole. Concepts, pain, any of that stuff. Any of that good stuff. Okay, 2020 CL says, I am clear on what kind awareness is now. Welcoming consciousness can kind of be as a primary condition. Yeah, and part of it is that a lot of people experience it as the primary condition of awareness, that it is just kind, that its nature is that it's open and gentle and in that way. My experience a lot of times, awareness feels very dead in a way. It just knows experiences. So I have to add that very as slight as possible sort of hint. And maybe I'm actually just finding something that's already in the nature of awareness. And that's just, I'm calling it adding something. But that's the general breakdown, kind awareness in that way. 613 style says, and actually before I get to you 613, I just want to mention, if anyone's here and they're not big meditators, or that was the first time or something like that, still let us know what that was like. We have a new subscriber here, Jamler22. Jamler, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in so long. Let us know what that was like, because it's important to beep up. What was my thought pattern here? It's important for people who are new, because a lot of the people who are writing have experience. I know a lot of these folks. So if you're new, you get answers if you ask the questions or tell me what's going on here. And if you're new, if you want to jump on Zoom, it actually can be really helpful because we can get some of the detail of what's happening for you. Most meditation challenges have very straightforward answers, so because they just happen to everybody the same way. So back to the comments here. 613 style says, my thoughts got very subtle, and then a song got stuck in my head. That happens to me a lot. Okay, so in this particular practice, what we do, and you can actually do it now, right? So if you can hear the trace of that song as it's in your head right now, introduce it to all of the other material. It doesn't have to go away. It doesn't have to stop singing. Just introduce that song to the larger spatial experience of the whole world. And what tends to happen is that stuckness on the song, the sort of stickiness of it, goes away because there's nothing to stick to now. It's just open and has this open quality. I've been trying to think of a metaphor of how to describe this to people, where if there's part of us, we've been doing the multiple self work. So if there's a part that is fighting, it's like, I need something, and we give it more space, suddenly it doesn't have anything to grab onto. It can't fight and resist anymore. There's just sort of open spaciousness. So I'm trying to find a metaphor that actually describes that sort of it can't sort of be painful because it doesn't have anything to reach out and punch. It's sort of like, I don't know, every metaphor I think of is like a baby in a womb, and it's like kicking, punching, but then if you expand the womb, suddenly the baby has lots of space to swim in. But just a weird metaphor. Anyway, I've been trying to think of one. Jean says, I really like thinking about how awareness can be soft. Also, two other things resonated with me: tending to allow focus on unpleasant things only. Tending to allow focus on unpleasant things only, and your earlier comment about learning how to feel satisfied with one's achievements rather than just racking up achievements. In the past, I did a lot of the latter. Yeah, I forgot that I made that comment. I was like, what are you talking about? When did I say that? That's true. Awesome. Great. Thank you for that, for those details. Appreciate that. And let me know if I missed something, because I think that's more of a report than any kind of question. That's great. Duan, again, pronunciation, feeling calmer, a bit refreshed. It could be evening's work and food getting digested, but no, I'm glad I had this opportunity. Jamler says, again, lol, thanks for the gifted sub. Oh, that's sweet. Nick gifted a sub to Jamler. That's very kind. It's Friday, my dudes. Exactly. It is Friday, my dudes. So I was going to mention something related to feeling a bit calmer, feeling a bit refreshed, a little food in the digestive system. I don't remember. Not that important. Okay, next we have Jesse BKK. Thank you so much for your report. First time meditating. What? All right, everybody, give it up. Give it up. We have to have we should have a thing. Okay, this is we don't have a thing yet, but we're gonna make a thing. I don't know. All right, everybody, first time meditators, you get everybody put some emojis up in this chat here. I want to see a big cloud of emojis for our first time meditator. That is awesome. Okay, give some love. I think we need a new ritual here. We need something for first time meditators, because I realize we don't have anything to celebrate folks who are just here doing this for the first time. It is not a joke. It is a big deal. So I am very proud of you for being here and doing it. And especially, it's not like a beginner's meditations typically look like, oh yeah, just relax for 60 seconds and this kind of thing. So I'm very happy you're here. Okay, let's go back to your actual report. First time meditating, very, very new for me. Okay, great. I love the experience. Hey, cha-ching, even better. See, I'm like, let's celebrate the new meditator. Everybody, emojis in the chat. And you're like, I hated it. I don't like you. I don't want to be here. And I'm out of here. I should have read ahead before I... no, either way, it's really great. But I'm glad the experience was good too. That's a double bonus, because first time meditating is a big deal. You had a good time? Hey, even better. That means we're doing our jobs here, folks. Everybody, congratulations to you for making this a pleasant experience. I'm dealing with anxiety, not surprising, I'll tell you what, dealing with anxiety, and got some sort of panic attack feeling while trying to let go, though. Excellent. Okay, great. This is a great topic to talk about. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, so Jesse, pro tip, I can probably give you a more personalized answer if you want to jump on Zoom, but there's no pressure to do that if you prefer not. If you'd like to, just let me know and we'll go from there. So what we want to do is we want to get very good at going into this stuff very gently without pushing ourselves or overwhelming ourselves. Why? Because you had a pleasant experience, except part of you became overwhelmed, right? So what will happen over time is the system can start associating meditation with overwhelm. So we have to go in very, very carefully. So here are some adjustments that I'm going to encourage you to make anytime you meditate. And actually, really right now, this is one of the nice things about meditation is we can always do it. We can always be continuously like tuning into our experience. So right now, as you're watching this, right, just sort of take a look around you, like just notice that there's space around you. Notice that there's nothing, the space is pretty stable where you are, right? One of the things that can happen to bring in anxiety during the sit is this unconscious sense of something looming, maybe, right? This is something the mind does. It might not even be conscious. So just noticing your environment, noticing how nice and stable the experience is. It is an environment. It's nice in that way. You can also practice with your eyes open. You might notice that now as you sit here and speak, the mind is a little bit more chill because the eyes are open and because there's a little bit more activity. Another thing that's very important is just, you can always stop meditating. Now you can stop in various degrees. You can keep meditating but open the eyes. That's often a good idea. Rest the eyes on a single point. You can pause for a moment and just move the body, whatever needs to be moved. Sometimes the body just needs to jiggle it out. And then you can actually just stop the meditation completely. Just like stop meditating. You can listen along or just stop completely, and do whatever you need to do. But you want to notice the panic before it arises, before it sort of takes over. And maybe that's what happened. Maybe that was sort of in there somewhere, in some subtle way. So just hopefully that is generally helpful. And let me know if that clarifies or if there's any questions in specific in relationship to your experience. That's helpful. Gabriel, I want to read this right. Gabriel Visate. What's up, Gabriel? So good to see you here. People don't know, but me and Gabriel go way back. Gabriel and I went to stunt driving school together, but it was kids stunt driving school. It's very weird. We were stunt boat driving. That's with the kids. It has to be in water. So we were stunt boat drivers together, and we had just a fabulous time. Okay, so that's me and Gabriel's background. 5-year-old stunt boat drivers. Gabriel says, I've been meditating for some years now, but I realize I zoned out for most of the session. I think you mean today's session, I'm guessing. Body wanted to move a lot, so I hunched my back to stay still. Okay, like whatever you need to do, because especially I found that when I started to meditate and I tried to keep the body still, all of this body pain arose, and I realized that I was holding my body in all these weird ways, or I had these like muscle things, and I had to sort of work them out. So whatever you need to do. Again, the instruction is assuming the body is not injured, assuming the body isn't having any difficulties. It's a general instruction. Zen Mind, thank you so much for following. Very kind of you, as always. I really appreciate that. Zen Mind was actually also here, was in our stunt boat school as children. Zen Mind was known for the fire loop, the dangerous fire loop. We weren't allowed to do it, but Zen Mind was 6. We were all 5, so Zen Mind was allowed to do it. Whatever you need to do to adjust the body is fine. And what I would suggest is the principle is use as little muscle power as possible, so you don't get achy and don't need to adjust, so that you can find stillness. And also, you mentioned that you got spacey, zoned out during the session. Not surprising, because we're opening awareness, and that's very similar to the sort of spaciousness of sort of being zoned out. So one of the things that you can do if you do a similar meditation, we don't always do this kind of meditation, if you do a similar meditation, is to notice the crispness and the detail, like notice the nuance of what's happening, even if it's spacious. And that will tend to keep the mind away from the fogginess, because the fogginess, like the sleepiness, sort of vague, this kind of thing, can creep in. And if we notice the brightness of the experience, even the brightness of the fogginess, which seems strange, it can pull us back into like a nice, clear awareness in that way. Okay, hopefully that was beep up up up. So great. So thank you for that. Okay, we have a sweep of sometimes I wonder if the conversation in the chat is actually to me or it's just a general chat. Nick says, it's like craft beer. It grows on you. Okay, maybe not the best metaphor. Well, you were saying the metaphor for the spacious awareness, or I'm not sure what the metaphor is for. Duan says, how does that Zoom thing work? Is it live? Do you pre-record yourself? Which Zoom thing? Because the Zoom thing is, it's just the Zoom meeting. It would just pop you up in the corner and we chat. So that's what the Zoom is. So if you want to jump on there, let me know, and I'll let you know. Speaking of schedule, it says we typically stream Monday, Tuesday. Wait, where does it say that? That should not say that. Tell me where it says that. Sometimes we mix it up, so click here to stay informed. Okay, tell me where that is. If you send me a link for that, I will destroy that website. Annihilate that description. That's what I'm going to do. So tell me where that is. Thank you very much. Beep up up, beep up up. Thank you for that, Nick. The MP Berger, welcome. I think this might be your first time here. This might be your first time here, but it's not our first time together. As you know, you were the silver winner in that summer's speedboat child racing stunt contest. the M Burger, and it wasn't just another contestant. M Burger was actually ended up being a judge for the entire contest. They take one excellent student and they become actually a judge for the entire speedboat contest. So this is what the MP Burger. That's where we know them from. So trying to figure out the schedule so I can be on here next time. That's lovely. Okay, schedule is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Thank you for that, Nick. We're always here at those times. If there is anything missing, if we're going to be somewhere else, you can check out our Discord. I think this link works. If this link doesn't work, just I don't know, just smash your computer. Just if that link doesn't work, just never go on the internet again, and that'll show them. No, we're Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. Okay, MP Burger says, oh, awesome. That fits my schedule so well. I've been looking for a group to meditate with. Well, lovely. We're very glad to have you here. How fortunate for me to stumble on here today. Hey, listen, the universe had a message for you. Has anyone seen that? If somebody can search this for me, Bill Nye did this video. What was the title of it? It was like the purpose of the universe, I think it's called. And it's I'm spoiling the joke now. This is the whole thing, and Bill Nye's science is so excited. We've finally discovered the purpose of the universe. This is we can't believe this is so far beyond our comprehension. It ends up that the purpose of the universe is to give white women direction on what they should do in their life. And then it flashes to this scene of women. It's the universe is telling me that I should take this Pilates class. So that's the joke. The universe told you to be here today. Nick says, found a good place. Oh, I'm glad you're here. Welcome to MP Burger. It's been good to be back with you since our speedboat racing days. Beep up beep. Jesse says, losing track of my environment is what caused the anxiety. Check. There we go. Great detail. The fact that you could even tell what that was is excellent. Okay, I think. I could have opened my eyes, but I tried to refocus on the meditation and work my way through. You could always have that option, but just remember, sometimes there's a sense, especially in the, I don't want to say, in the West, in Western countries, bearing down is the way to grow. This is the way to grow. This, we're just going to push through it, and that's where development happens. And all of these, a lot of self-help things kind of push in that way. This thing you got to be on the grind, you got to push, and it's actually often letting go and being gentle is a way to expand our path in a way that is very different, but it can often be equally as beneficial, and I think we need to be skilled in both directions. So you always have the option to just stop or open your eyes or power through if you want to, but just don't think that that's better. And actually, especially if we have anxiety, the whole premise is fast is slow and slow is fast. So if we try to go too quickly, it can be overwhelming. So we want to take it nice and slow, and that's the turtle winning the race, is just take it at our own speed. And worth knowing that part of meditation, there are times when our environment becomes very fuzzy and we disappear. The sense of inside and outside can disappear. What can happen with that is fear can arise. Now, that's not a problem, fear arising on its own. It's actually just a sensation in the body. So part of it is to get used to the possibility that things like that can arise, and they're actually not that big of a deal. People will report hey, I was doing this meditation and suddenly it felt like I didn't have a torso, and then I opened my eyes and I was oh, okay, it's there. Basically, once we start getting into this sort of world of exploring our sensations, our sense of solidity is not as solid as it seems to imply that it is. Our body tells us, I'm always here, even when you're asleep. It's always sensation. It's just, I'm here. The mind says the world is always here. And while the matter of the world, the physical makeup of the world is there, our perception of the world can break down and can shift to a place where it can seem actually like the world breaks apart, or the sense of inside and outside break apart. And that sense of inside and outside are very good to keep us stable in the world, and very good to keep us feeling comfortable and like we're living this nice continuous life, because that's good for passing genetic material forward. It's a very efficient way to make people pass on their genes. But also, we can have the freedom to not have to live in those sort of strict boundaries if we'd like to. And so that's part of what meditation can offer, if that is of interest. Okay, so folks, lovely, lovely as always to have you here. You know what? I have something for you before we go, and that is a wish. That is a simple wish that right now in your current experience, that you can open up your awareness to all of your current experiencing, this large sphere of all of this material, that you can enjoy and tune into how unique this is. Very strange, this experience of nature. Today, nature was a big theme. And when we visit nature, often we have this sense of awe or wonder or spaciousness. So part of the premise is to look for the spaciousness, the openness, the sort of brightness of our current experience. So my wish for you is that in this particular moment, you're able to open up in this gentle, open way, including the connection with all the people we had today, this lovely group of folks chit-chatting, having fun, regaling in our memories of stunt boat driving as early children in our first half decade. All of the fun we've had, including all of this in our sense experience in this particular moment. Any sense of the future that's arising, a sense of the day that's coming in front of us. And in fact, let's go ahead and tune into that sense of the rest of the day as it's about to unfold. And just noticing that in the context of all of our sensing, this large sphere that we can hold our experience in, and not believe the mind when it says we only have to focus on this one thing, and if we just focus here really tightly, no matter how painful it is, we'll finally be okay. This is one of the tricks of the mind. So my wish for you is simply to allow awareness to be open, kind, and welcoming to you and all those around you. Thank you everyone for coming. We're going to be back here in fewer than 72 hours. Back here on Monday, having a good time. Party time. Excellent. Folks, as always, practice well. Take care of each other. Have fun. And we'll see you all very, very soon. Bye.